Hello, and welcome back to Speak English Daily.
Hi everyone, we are very happy to see you here today.
Hello and welcome. Today, we are going to talk about something very important for your English and for your life. We are going to learn how to receive feedback.
Feedback. I hear this word a lot, but I am not sure I really understand it.
That's a great place to start. Feedback means when someone tells you what you are doing well and what you can improve. It can be about your English, your work, or even your behavior.
So, it's like advice?
Yes, it is similar to advice, but not the same. Advice is usually about the future. Feedback is about something you already did. For example, if you speak English and I tell you, your pronunciation is good, but you need to speak more clearly, that is feedback.
Oh, I see. It is about my performance.
That's right. Feedback helps you understand how you are doing. It shows your strengths and your weaknesses.
But I think many people don't like feedback.
You're right. Many people feel uncomfortable when they receive feedback. Let's talk about why.
Maybe because it feels like criticism?
Yes, that's one big reason. When someone tells us what we did wrong, we may feel embarrassed or even a little hurt.
Yes, I feel that sometimes. I feel like I made a mistake and people are judging me.
That's a very natural feeling. Let me explain this in a simple way. When you receive feedback, your brain sometimes thinks this is danger. It feels like someone is attacking you, even if they are trying to help.
So it's not really danger, but it feels like danger.
Exactly. It is just a feeling, not reality. Most of the time, feedback is not an attack. It is information to help you grow.
But in the moment, it is hard to stay calm.
Yes, especially for beginners in English. When you are already trying to speak a new language and then someone corrects you, it can feel stressful.
Yes, sometimes I just want to stop speaking.
And that is a very important point. If you stop speaking because of feedback, you lose the chance to improve. So learning how to receive feedback is very important.
So feedback is actually helpful, even if it feels uncomfortable.
Yes, think about this. If nobody tells you your mistakes, how will you improve?
I guess I will keep making the same mistakes.
Exactly. Feedback shows you what you cannot see by yourself.
That makes sense, but I still feel nervous when someone gives me feedback.
That's okay. Today, we are not trying to remove that feeling completely. We are learning how to manage it, step by step.
So I don't need to feel perfect about it.
Not at all. You just need to learn how to respond in a better way.
Okay, I like that. It feels more realistic.
Good. Let me give you a simple sentence you can remember. Feedback is not my enemy. It is my teacher.
Feedback is not my enemy, it is my teacher. That sounds powerful.
Yes, and very useful for your mindset. Mindset means how you think about something.
So if I change my mindset, I can feel better about feedback.
Yes, when you see feedback as help, not as attack, everything becomes easier.
I think I understand the idea now.
Great. In the next part, we will go deeper. We will talk about why feedback is so important and how it helps you improve faster.
I'm ready for that.
Now let's talk about why feedback is so important. This is where many learners change their thinking and start improving faster.
I'm curious. I understand feedback a little now, but I still don't see why it is so important.
That's honest, and many people feel the same. Let me explain this with a simple idea called a growth mindset.
Growth mindset. What does that mean?
A growth mindset means you believe you can improve with practice, effort, and learning. You don't think your ability is fixed. Fixed means it cannot change.
So, if I think my English is bad and it will always be bad, that is not a growth mindset?
Correct. That is a fixed mindset. A growth mindset sounds like this. My English is not good now, but I can improve.
That feels more hopeful.
It is, and feedback is very important for a growth mindset. Feedback shows you what to improve and how to improve.
So, feedback gives direction.
Yes, very good word. Direction means it shows you where to go next. Without feedback, you are just guessing.
That's true. Sometimes I don't know if I'm improving or not.
Exactly. Now, let me give you a real-life example. Imagine you are learning to speak English, and you say, "He go to school yesterday."
Yes, I think that sentence is not correct.
Right, but if no one tells you, you may continue using that sentence again and again.
So I will repeat the same mistake.
Yes, but if someone gives you feedback and says, you should say, "He went to school yesterday," now you learn the correct form.
So feedback helps me correct my mistakes quickly.
Exactly. It saves time. You don't need to wait months to realize your mistake.
That's actually very helpful.
Let's look at another example, not about language. Imagine you are cooking for the first time.
Okay.
You make a dish and your friend tastes it and says, "It's good, but it needs more salt."
That's feedback.
Yes, now next time you add more salt and the dish tastes better.
So without feedback, I might keep making the same bad dish.
Exactly. Feedback helps you improve faster in any skill, not just English.
I see. So feedback is like a guide.
Yes, like a guide or a map. It shows you where you are and what you need to change.
But what if the feedback is negative? Like someone only tells me what I did wrong?
Good question. Negative feedback can feel uncomfortable, but it is still useful. It shows you your weak areas.
Weak areas, meaning the parts I need to improve?
Yes, and remember, feedback is not saying you are bad, it is saying your work or your action can be better.
That's an important difference.
Very important. You are not the problem. The skill is just not developed yet.
That makes me feel less stressed.
Good. That's the goal. When you understand the value of feedback, you stop fearing it and start using it.
So if I want to improve faster, I should not avoid feedback.
Exactly. You should welcome it.
That sounds difficult, but also powerful.
It takes practice, just like English. In the next part, we will talk about common mistakes people make when they receive feedback.
I think I make many mistakes there.
Now let's talk about something very important. Many people do not improve from feedback, not because feedback is bad, but because of how they react to it.
So the problem is not the feedback, it is the reaction.
Yes, very often. There are some common mistakes people make when they receive feedback. Let's go through them one by one.
Okay, I think I might recognize myself in some of these.
That's good. Awareness is the first step to change.
All right, what is the first mistake?
The first mistake is getting defensive.
Defensive, meaning I try to protect myself.
Exactly. When someone gives feedback, instead of listening, you start explaining, arguing, or making excuses.
Oh, I do that sometimes. I say things like, no, I was just tired, or that's not what I meant.
Yes, those are defensive responses. Let me explain why this is a problem. When you become defensive, you stop listening.
So I miss the real message.
Correct. Your focus moves from learning to protecting your ego. Ego means how you see yourself.
So I care more about being right than improving.
Yes, and that blocks your growth.
That makes sense. What's the next mistake?
The second mistake is interrupting.
Interrupting, like speaking before the other person finishes?
Exactly. For example, someone says, "I think your pronunciation could be clearer," and before they finish, you say, "Yes, yes, I know."
I do that too. I feel like I already understand.
But here's the problem. When you interrupt, you may miss important details.
So maybe they were going to explain more?
Yes, maybe they were going to give an example or a solution, but you stopped them.
So interrupting means I lose useful information.
Exactly. Good listeners wait. They let the other person finish.
That requires patience.
Yes, but it is very important for learning.
Got it. What is the third mistake?
The third mistake is ignoring feedback.
Ignoring. Like pretending it doesn't matter?
Yes, you hear the feedback, but you don't do anything about it.
Why do people do that?
Sometimes because they feel uncomfortable, sometimes because they think it's not important or I will fix it later.
But later never comes.
Exactly, and the same mistakes continue.
So feedback becomes useless if I don't act on it.
Yes, feedback only helps you if you use it.
That's a strong point. Let's review quickly. First, getting defensive. Second, interrupting. Third, ignoring feedback.
All three stop learning.
Yes, they create a barrier between you and improvement. I can see now that I have done all three.
That's normal. Most people do. The goal is not to feel bad, but to change your behavior step by step.
So I should notice when I do these things and try to stop.
Exactly. Awareness leads to control.
I like that. It feels practical.
Good. In the next part, we will learn what to do instead. We will focus on how to listen calmly and understand feedback better.
That's what I need.
Now, let's focus on what you should do when you receive feedback. This is where real improvement begins.
Good, because I know my mistakes now, but I need a better way to react.
Exactly. The first step is very simple, but not always easy. You need to stay calm.
Stay calm, even if I feel uncomfortable?
Yes, feeling uncomfortable is normal, but you don't need to act on that feeling. Let me explain. When you receive feedback, your first reaction may be emotional.
Like feeling embarrassed or annoyed.
Yes, but instead of speaking immediately, take a small pause. Even 2 or 3 seconds can help.
Just pause and breathe?
Exactly. This gives your brain time to move from emotion to thinking.
So I don't react too quickly.
Correct. Quick reactions are often emotional, not helpful.
That makes sense. Sometimes I say something and later I regret it.
That happens to many people. So remember this simple idea. Pause before you respond.
Pause before I respond. Okay.
The second step is don't react immediately.
Isn't that similar to staying calm?
They are connected but slightly different. Staying calm is about your feeling. Not reacting immediately is about your action.
Ah, I understand. I may feel something, but I don't need to show it right away.
Exactly. For example, someone gives you feedback and you feel like saying, "No, that's not true."
Yes, that happens a lot.
Instead of saying it immediately, you wait. You listen fully.
So I give myself time.
Yes, time helps you respond in a better way.
What if I still disagree?
That's okay. You can disagree, but first you need to understand.
So understanding comes before reacting.
Perfect. That leads us to the third step. Focus on understanding.
That sounds important.
It is the most important part. When someone gives you feedback, your goal is not to defend yourself. Your goal is to understand their point.
Even if I think they're wrong.
Yes, because maybe they see something you don't see.
That's true. Sometimes other people notice things I miss.
Exactly. So you can ask yourself, what is this person trying to tell me?
So I listen carefully, not just to reply, but to understand.
Very good. Let me give you a simple example. Someone says, your sentences are too long and it's hard to follow you.
Okay.
Instead of thinking, no, my sentences are fine, you think, maybe I need to make my sentences shorter.
So I try to see their perspective.
Yes, perspective means how someone sees something.
That helps me learn instead of arguing.
Exactly. When you focus on understanding, feedback becomes useful, not stressful.
I like that idea. It changes the whole experience.
Good. Let's summarize quickly. First, stay calm. Second, don't react immediately. Third, focus on understanding.
These 3 steps feel simple but powerful.
Yes, and with practice, they become natural.
I think this will really help me in real conversations.
That's the goal. In the next part, we will learn useful English phrases you can use when receiving feedback.
That will be very helpful for me.
Now we come to a very practical part. We will learn useful English phrases you can use when you receive feedback.
Good, because sometimes I don't know what to say in that moment.
Yes, and when you don't know what to say, you may stay silent or react in the wrong way. So these phrases will help you respond politely and confidently.
That's what I need.
Let's start with the first and most important phrase. Thank you for your feedback.
Sounds simple.
It is simple, but very powerful. When you say this, you show respect and openness.
Even if I don't fully agree?
Yes, saying thank you does not mean you agree with everything. It means you appreciate the effort of the person who is helping you.
So it creates a positive feeling.
Exactly. Let me give you an example. Someone says, your pronunciation is good, but you need to stress some words more.
Okay.
You can respond, thank you for your feedback.
That feels polite and calm.
Yes, and it also gives you time to think.
I like that. It helps me avoid reacting quickly.
Good. Now let's look at the second phrase. Can you explain more?
That sounds useful.
Very useful. Sometimes feedback is not clear. If you don't understand, you should ask for more information.
So instead of guessing, I ask questions.
Exactly. For example, someone says, your sentences are not clear.
That's a little vague.
Yes. So you can say, can you explain more? Or can you give me an example?
That helps me understand the problem better.
Yes, and it also shows that you are interested in improving.
That's a good impression.
Very good. Now let's move to the third phrase. I understand your point.
What does your point mean?
Your point means the idea or opinion the other person is sharing.
So this phrase means I understand what they are saying.
Yes, even if you don't fully agree, you can still show that you understand.
That sounds respectful.
It is. For example, someone says, you speak too fast and it is hard to follow you.
Okay.
You can respond, I understand your point. I will try to speak more slowly.
That sounds very natural.
Yes, and it shows maturity. Maturity means you handle situations in a calm and smart way.
I want to sound like that.
You will, with practice. Let's combine these phrases in one response.
Okay.
Imagine someone gives you feedback. You can say, thank you for your feedback. I understand your point. Can you explain more so I can improve?
That sounds very complete.
Yes, it shows appreciation, understanding, and willingness to learn.
I think this will really help me in real conversations.
Good. Let's repeat the 3 key phrases. First, thank you for your feedback.
Thank you for your feedback.
Second, can you explain more?
Can you explain more?
Third, I understand your point.
I understand your point.
Excellent. Try to use these phrases in your daily life. The more you use them, the more natural they will feel.
I will try that.
In the next part, we will practice a real conversation. You will see both good and bad ways to receive feedback.
That will help me understand even better.
Now, let's practice with a real conversation. I will give you feedback and you will respond. First, we will look at a bad example, and then we will improve it.
Okay. I think I might make some mistakes here.
That's perfectly fine. This is how you learn. Here is the situation. You just gave a short English presentation. Now, I will give you feedback. Mike, your presentation was interesting, but you spoke too fast, and some of your sentences were not clear.
No, I think I spoke fine. Maybe you just didn't understand.
Good. This is a bad example. Let's stop here and analyze it.
Yeah, that sounded a bit rude.
Yes, you became defensive. You did not accept the feedback, and you blamed the listener.
I see that now.
Let's try again. Same situation. Mike, your presentation was interesting, but you spoke too fast, and some of your sentences were not clear.
Thank you for your feedback.
Good start.
But I think my speaking speed is okay.
This is better than before, but still slightly defensive. You said thank you, but then you quickly disagreed.
So I should focus more on understanding?
Exactly. Let's try again, step by step. Mike, your presentation was interesting, but you spoke too fast, and some of your sentences were not clear.
Thank you for your feedback. I understand your point.
Very good.
Can you explain more about which sentences were not clear?
Excellent. This is a strong response.
It feels more calm and open.
Yes. Now I will give you more specific feedback. For example, when you talked about your main idea, your sentences were too long and it was hard to follow you.
I understand. So I should make my sentences shorter.
Yes, that would help.
Okay, I will try to use shorter sentences next time.
That is a perfect response. You listened, you understood, and you showed action.
It feels very different from the first example.
Yes. Let's try one more situation. Mike, your pronunciation is good, but you need to stress important words more clearly.
No, I think my pronunciation is already good.
Again, this is a bad example. You are not open to improvement.
Right.
Now try a better response. Mike, your pronunciation is good, but you need to stress important words more clearly.
Thank you for your feedback. I understand your point. Can you give me an example?
Excellent. Now I can help you more. For example, instead of saying every word the same way, you should make important words stronger.
I see. So I need to change my voice to show important words.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I will practice that.
Very good. Let's review what you did well. You said thank you showed understanding, and you asked for more information.
And I didn't interrupt or argue.
Exactly. That is the key difference.
I can see now how small changes in response can make a big difference.
Yes, and these skills are useful not only in English, but in real life.
I feel more confident now.
Good. In the next part, we will learn how to ask for feedback by yourself.
That sounds important too.
Now, let's talk about something very powerful. Instead of waiting for feedback, you can ask for it.
Ask for feedback? That feels a little scary.
Yes, at first it can feel uncomfortable, but when you ask for feedback, you take control of your learning.
What do you mean by take control?
It means you don't wait for others to correct you. You actively look for ways to improve.
That sounds like a strong habit.
It is. And the good news is, you don't need complex English. You can use simple questions.
That's great for beginners.
Let's go through some easy and useful questions. First, can you give me feedback?
That's very direct.
Yes, and very clear. You can use it after you speak, write, or present something.
Okay.
Second, what can I improve?
I like this one. It focuses on improvement.
Exactly. It shows that you are open to learning.
And it sounds positive.
Yes. Now, another useful question. Was my explanation clear?
That's very specific.
Yes, and specific questions often give better answers.
That makes sense.
You can also ask, did I make any mistakes?
That is simple and easy to remember.
Good. Let's practice a short example. You finish speaking in English and then you say, can you give me feedback? What can I improve?
That sounds natural.
Yes, and it invites the other person to help you.
But what if I feel nervous asking?
That's normal. Confidence takes time. Start small.
What do you mean by start small?
Ask people you trust, maybe a teacher, a friend, or a language partner.
So I feel safe.
Exactly. When you feel safe, it is easier to ask and accept feedback.
And over time, I will feel more confident.
Yes, confidence grows with practice. Every time you ask for feedback, you become stronger.
I like that idea.
Also, remember asking for feedback shows courage.
Courage, meaning I am brave.
Yes, you are willing to learn and improve even if it feels uncomfortable.
That changes how I see it.
Good. When you start asking for feedback regularly, your progress becomes faster.
Because I know what to improve.
Exactly. Now, let's bring everything together and review what we learned today.
Yes, we covered a lot.
First, we learned what feedback is. It is information about what you did well and what you can improve.
And it is not an attack, it is help.
Exactly. Then we talked about why feedback is important. It helps you grow and improve faster.
And it gives direction.
Right. After that, we discussed common mistakes, getting defensive, interrupting, and ignoring feedback.
I remember those. They block learning.
Yes. Then we learned a better mindset. Stay calm, don't react immediately, and focus on understanding.
That part really changed how I think.
Good. Then we practiced useful phrases. Thank you for your feedback. Can you explain more? And I understand your point.
Those phrases are very helpful.
And we practiced real conversations with both bad and good responses.
That helped me see the difference clearly.
Finally, we talked about asking for feedback, using simple questions and building confidence step by step.
Yes, I feel more ready to do that now.
That's great to hear. Let me give you one final idea to remember. Feedback is a tool.
A tool, like something I can use.
Exactly. It is something you use to build your skills.
So if I use it well, I improve faster.
Yes, and if you avoid it, your progress becomes slow.
I understand now. I think I will try to use feedback more actively.
That's a great decision.
Even if it feels uncomfortable, I will try to stay calm and listen.
That's all you need. Small steps every day.
Thank you, Anna. I learned a lot today.
You're welcome, Mike. And remember, every piece of feedback is an opportunity to grow.
I will keep that in mind.